The following program is presented by Kevin Shorey Ministries, whose mission is to fulfill the Great Commission by spreading the word that Jesus is the answer for this world today. Today's story is about a little boy. He was a bright, happy young boy. One day, the little boy went up to his mother and said,
Mommy, when I'm all grown up, I'm going to tell everybody that Jesus is the answer for this world today.
And you know, for the last 40 years, that's exactly what he's done. Live from the A.M. Kevin Studios, located in the country music capital of the world, Nashville, Tennessee, it's time for A.M. Kevin, featuring evangelist, composer, and gospel artist celebrating 40 years of ministry, Kevin Shorey and the entire A.M. Kevin Club gang. And now, beginning his 41st year, reaching coast to coast and around the world with the message that Jesus is the answer for this world today, is your host, Kevin Shorey.
Watching today, one of our favorites around here, Marc Barnet, is in the house, and we're going to start off with a song. I hope you'll stay tuned for the whole program. He's going to give us a little mini concert and show us what he does when he's out there on the road or doing these sessions and teaching and all this good stuff, and how songs are written and how he wrote some of these great songs, including our favorite around here, Tables and Chairs. He's going to do, I hope, before we leave today. Let's start off with a good song. Here is Marc Barnet, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Kevin. This song is about living life to its fullest. My next door neighbor is Amos Brown. He was talking about his parents slowing down. I was kind of shocked because Amos is 82. Been noticing lifelines are getting long, cause everywhere you look there's writing on the wall. 80s now, 40s, 20, and 20s in the womb. Granny's on the Facebook, putting pictures on the web of her last vacation, skydiving trip. Must be something in the water we're all drinking from. Got a whole lot of things keeping us young. Older people doing stuff their parents couldn't do. Don't really know what's happening. Got a fountain of youth coming out of a keg. Ages in the mind, grim reapers being cheated, ain't kicking the bucket, but we're still kicking. Got a whole generation ain't sitting still. Go from weird to wild with a little blue pill. People in the gym running past people half their age. Women running around in the middle 80s, riding down the road in the red Mercedes. Grannies didn't look like that back in my day. Well, we might be right, but we're not near done. Just chasing that pot of gold at the rising sun. Must be something in the water we're all drinking from. Got a whole lot of things making us young. Older people doing stuff their parents couldn't do. Don't really know what's happening. Got a fountain of youth coming out of a keg. Ages in the mind, grim reapers being cheated, ain't kicking the bucket, but we're still kicking. Yeah, we're still kicking. No, yeah. Must be something in the water we're all drinking from. Got a whole lot of things keeping us young. Older people doing stuff their parents couldn't do. Don't really know what's happening. Got a fountain of youth coming out of a keg. Ages in the mind, grim reapers being cheated, ain't kicking the bucket, but we're still kicking. We're still kicking. Gonna keep on kicking. Down, 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 down.
love that song. We were talking about it before the show, but
Yeah.
I mean, the truth of it is, I'm about to go 60, and I remember my grandmother.
Yeah.
I remember my mother. She didn't look as old. I guess maybe it didn't go through as much. Maybe that generation. I don't know. What's in the water? What's
Yeah.
the pill? I like
Last
that.
week, you'll love this. Last week, I had 4 women come to town. They've been friends of mine for 40 years.
Yeah.
They're in their 80s. They're in their mid 80s. They all went to high school together. They were all named Ann. It was the Attack of the Anns, and I was loving it. They came up to see Tom Jones.
All right.
Tom Jones is 85, and they're 85, and we do live a lot longer now, and remain active longer now. And you look at you. I just always draw parallels with you. Think about 60 when our parents, our grandparents, we have pictures of them when they were in their 50s and 60s. They were looked 80 at 40.
They did.
And so my friend Greg Stapleton and I wrote that song, and it's another one of the kind of teaching moments of how do you take things that apply to other people and kind of include them. That's what we're all trying to do.
It's great. In other words, y'all, you are not looking older, you're looking better. You're
absolutely.
looking better. Karen and Phyllis and Steve and Larry's in the house, and Karen, do you know the way to San Jose?
There you go. I know.
Karen does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's where she's watching from. Ruthie's in the house, and so, that's an encouraging song, actually. I like that. I like that very much.
Thanks.
And he's coming back. He's going to do a whole set over there in just a little bit. And we want to talk to him a little bit first.
Sure.
And before we do, let's start off with a word of prayer. And we just open up in prayer, and they're just thankful to the Lord that we've had answered prayer. As we've been praying and agreeing, a lot of folks are being touched and healed and encouraged by the Spirit of the Lord. And I'm so glad that we have the power of prayer. It's just a wonderful thing that the Lord has given us so that we can communicate with Him. A direct line. Can you imagine if you had a direct line with the President or King Charles? You could just talk to him at any time. Well, the King of Kings has got a direct line for all of us. And so, Lord, we lift up our nation to you. We see so many things wrong in our nation, but God, we know that you are the answer. And so let us lean upon you and trust you. Bring peace to this nation, to this world, in the Ukraine and in Sudan and Syria and Jerusalem and Israel, where there is a lot of turmoil right now. God, send your peace, we pray, and we agree that you will do that for this world, for this nation. God, if we'll just turn to you, say the answer is just found in you. That's why I always say you're the answer for this world today, because it's not just some trite quote. It is the truth that you do provide the answer. Thank you, God, for helping Derek. We're just going to thank you today for all those who have prayer requests and have needs. God, you know the needs of healing or financial need or for their family. So be with Gwen and Kathy in Georgia, Derek out there in the Bahamas, Ellen in Montana, Rick and Lana, Jeff and April, Bob and Valerie, Ken and the Beatty family, all these ministries, the Guyton family and Roy at the ALG Network, Rob at the Abundant TV. God, be with the McKays, the Everetts, the Hernquists, the Zeladins, God. Be with Kathy and Elizabeth, Sandy, Sandra, Madeline, Steve, Lou, Kim, Ruthie. Ruthie's car caught on fire from a nearby car catching on fire. Just the crazy stuff. But we know these attacks, God, that they come from the enemy. But let her not be discouraged, and let Ruthie have hope today that everything's going to be all right. Casey, Karen, touch Karen as she's watching from San Jose and bring healing to her body. To Lynn and Josh, Carol, Dave and Barb, Norma, Bruce, Ann, Thomas, Rick, Patty, the Edwards, the Rydells, the Eugenios. God, there's a big list, but God, you are a big God, and you are able. You're able to do. Every good and perfect gift comes from you, and you are the God that heals, and you are the God that supplies every need according to your riches in glory. And we stand on your word, and we trust you, and we thank you. And we ask today again that that everyone within the sound of my voice, their finances will multiply, their health will improve, their friends will be blessed, their family will be loved, their pains will be less, their worries will disappear. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. We believe it. Now receive it out there. Ginger, come on. God's touching you. In Jesus' name, amen. And it's good to see. I missed you all. A lot of y'all were gone yesterday. I missed you, Charlene. And where'd get my microphone go? Charlene and Ginger and Phyllis was in the house. And we got Phyllis and her card of the week, because I like the butterflies. That was really cool because they're like raised up. It's really nice. And the nice note that she sent. And she ordered, as well as many of you have ordered, but many more need to. It's the brand new 40 years. That's right, 40. 40 seemed old when I was younger. But 40-year anniversary photo album with all the stuff from the beginnings up until the 100th show we did. And then I made room for maybe another album in another 5-10 years, where we go from our 100th show we did in Branson. There is that celebration of the 100th show. And then and I thought I'd go from there next time to today, see what God has. The best is yet to come. I really believe it. Here's one of the best days of my life. First time I saw my wife in her wedding gown right there on our wedding day. Oh, wonderful. And we're about to celebrate an anniversary as well. So it's a year of anniversaries. Next month we'll be married 18 years. 40 years in ministry. In October I'll be 60 years old. These are big years. This is a big year. 2023. Anyway, get yours today. Call us at 844-47-KEVIN or write us P.O. Box 222, Pleasant View. 222. See, it's a songwriter's dream right there. 222 Pleasant View, Tennessee 37146. And get your copy today, or help us become monthly. I'm sending out. We got 2 new partners at $11 a month, and that's where a lot of them start. And then they start just blessing us more. But you can start at $11 a month and get your official AM Kevin Club mug, because every beverage tastes better in an AM Kevin Club mug. That's my little slogan. But anyway, that's just water, and that feels good going down. Now, I want you to do that, but more than anything, I would like you to go to Marc Allen Barnet. This is how you spell it. It's right there. You don't choose music. Music chooses you. I even wore black and white because of the bumper sticker. I didn't know if you'd wear black. He's wearing black.
Always wearing black. It lights better.
It does. You know, the other day I thought my camera was like going.
Yeah.
It was on the Fritz or whatever, the Blitz, the Fritz, whatever that. Right. And because it kept going, making me look dark. Mm-hmm. Well, I was wearing this bright yellow shirt.
Yeah.
And it finally dawned on me the camera was trying to compensate for the lighting. Yeah. And so I can't do that anymore. I can't wear that. But I love this. I love this. He's going to tell us. I want you to tell us more about that. I want you to go there and get some CDs. You know, our show is it's not really a gospel show. It's not really it's a Christian show, but it's entertainment with a message. And I love the entertainment value of this man who writes some great, clever songs. Tell us about him. And well, come over here first of all. I
Johnny
forgot
Carson segment.
This is the Johnny Carson. Oh, you do go back.
I do go. I go way.
I loved him. I don't think anybody's
This is the
ever
Jack
met.
Parr. This is the Jack.
No,
Parr
you don't go that far back. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, I miss Johnny Carson.
I do too.
When he retired and left, and I was like, oh no, that's the end. And he didn't. He died not
just a couple of years afterwards.
Yeah, he didn't. That was his deal. That was his life.
People don't understand now how big an impact somebody like Carson did. They can't understand because we're so spread out with the internet. Nobody understands how an Elvis, how a Beatles, the effect that they have. Billy Graham. Can you imagine Billy Graham with the internet?
Oh, I know. If he just started now, maybe, or just right before. I mean, no, I know. And I've been. Have you ever been to Charlotte to his?
I haven't.
His museum / library.
Right.
My goodness, the impact that he made. As you walk through, you start crying because you see what he did to change the world at his time. Absolutely. And you think, where's that guy now?
I sang in that choir once.
Yeah, I did a choir
I remember
once.
that. Yeah.
But where are the new Billy Grahams? The guys that are taking this stuff and, I try, but I'm no Billy Graham.
Well, I think that there are great people out there. There are always great people out. And where we are in all of the entertainment business, regardless where it is creating a niche. You have a niche. You have your followers there. I have my niche. And it's constantly trying to expand that.
Yeah.
The internet gives huge power, but it also is crowded by so many people trying to do the exact same thing.
Exactly. So how do you find, you're the man to ask this, how do you find that niche, that song? Because we were talking about our sermons. I find sermons now, that excites me almost more than songs, but yet I still, maybe I gave up on the song part, because how do you find that song that's going to hit that, and how do you find that song that's you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, even though you don't want to, they pigeonhole you into a genre.
Right.
Like, oh, are you contemporary? Are you gospel? What are you? And I'm like, I don't really want to be pigeonholed into that. Right. But yet, you have to find the song or the songs. Yeah. How do you decide that's going to be you?
Well, a lot of times it's not you that decides. It finds itself. You remember that a commercial that it was a shampoo commercial, and they tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and they tell two friends.
Right.
It kind of grows exponentially like that. That's what the internet does. It just doubles and triples and quintuples what we do. You can't touch everybody. You have to get out there and get as many as you can. And when you have the opportunity, when you have that the 15 seconds of their attention span that everyone has now, you better do the best with what you have there.
Well, I'll give you a good example of what you're saying, because I certainly would have picked, I've had over 1 million views, YouTube, million whatever the other thing that it was on, of just me. I was sitting on the set, and I was using an iPad at the time, and it fell.
Right.
Somebody saw this after I said, I'm addicted to Coke.
Right.
Diet Coke.
Okay.
And that was my joke. And my iPad actually fell almost on cue.
Right.
And so somebody took it and did
you became viral.
and made a meme. Over 1 million.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be known for the Diet Coke guy, But you're right. You don't pick it. Really, it kind of you don't choose music.
And that's an example. I wrote that song with a guy in California. I teach songwriting, and I was working with a guy, and he was a fairly successful lawyer in Malibu, California.
Yeah,
we're not far from where Johnny Carson lived. We're in this beautiful house, and he had just gotten frustrated because his whole desire in his life would have been to move to Nashville and be a songwriter. Yeah. He had a friend named Jeffrey Steele, who's from out there, who came here and became one of the most successful songwriters in the world. And so he was really woulda, shoulda, coulda. And my thing on that, you can't worry about that. You've got to do what you can with the opportunities that come your way.
Right.
And when we wrote that song, that line just popped in. You don't choose music, music chooses you. And I never thought when we wrote that song much about it. It was a slow song. I'm known more for up-tempo stuff. It was not something that I had sat and thought about. Just something popped out. And you talk about God-given. It just was one of those things.
Yeah.
And again, I forgot about it for a few years. And then someone that was at one of the songwriting workshops that I taught in Texas showed up at my house one night and reminded me of that song and made me play it over and over and over again. And that started resonating. But it wasn't just about songwriters. It was about people who are truckers. You don't choose trucking. Trucking chooses you. Mm-hmm. You don't choose the Gospels. The Gospels choose you. You can pretty much enter teachers. And I would have people put their occupations into the line that is kind of where we are. And I think that's kind of what life is like. We don't choose it. It just kind of, it flops in our way. You can think, and I know you can't because we're roughly the same age. You can think about some turns that you could have made that could have been a completely different.
All the time. When you get older, you start thinking
that's
of
exactly
those, don't
right.
you?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, like this song you sang, I could hear this 100 times because I can relate, and I think most everybody can.
Exactly.
The young, I don't know.
Well,
how did that came out of an experience?
It was an experience. Right? My friend Greg Stapleton comes to Nashville. We saw the same internet thing. We're all watching internet. That's where everything comes from.
Yeah.
And some woman, it was not long after, you remember former President George Bush at 90 years old had done his skydive. Do you remember that? Well, there was a woman who was a grandmother, and she had like 25 great grandkids and like 20. She had this huge group of people, and she skydived like at 90 years old. And it was just one of many things of these people who are in their 80s, their 90s, they're almost 100,
It's a different age.
and that are still in reasonably good shape.
Yeah.
We were talking about our parents and our grandparents. Man, when you see pictures of them in their 30s or 40s, they look 110.
Yeah.
We look relatively good,
For relatively,
Yeah,
yes.
so that's where it came from.
Well, somebody told me, go to Hallmark or the card stores in Walmart, wherever, and just see that now there's quite a few sections of 90 and 100 cards.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
He said that didn't used to be.
That's right. Yeah.
So we're getting older and but we're getting better.
We're better. Always better.
Better. So now you're still going out, and then you not only do concerts, but and I would just love to see a whole Mark. I bet it's so entertaining. Give us a little taste of that today, for sure.
Well,
but
go ahead.
you're
Yeah.
also teaching and,
Yes.
and sharing. So how did that come about? I can't remember how you started doing that because. Obviously you didn't start as a teacher. You started writing songs and being a songwriter. So,
Well,
what happened?
you're talking about anniversaries. Last month, 2 months ago now, March 17th, was the first time I had ever stepped on stage. And that was because a friend of mine had called me. He had a little band, and this is before I started high school.
Yeah.
I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And so the 17th of March, I remember St. Patrick's Day, was a high school assembly for the place that I would end up going. And we started in bands, and that's what we did. Then it'll be 49 years. It was 49 years on March 17th.
Wow.
Then April 1st was 36 years that I'd moved here.
Wow.
And so I had started out of high school, and I was in bands, and that's what we did to try and get women. And we were that's what we did. And our band turned professional in the 80s, and we did this big battle of the bands, which was sponsored by MCA Records, and it was a nationwide thing, and we won this thing out of like 30,000 bands. And then we realized the thing about contests is when you win a contest, you get roped into that contest too.
Yeah.
And so it took a while to get out of that. The band break up, which is they all do. You know when the band breaks up? The day after the publicity photo is taken. That's the day.
When they break up. Yes. Or unless Yoko Ono.
Exactly. That's it. There you go. and I met a guy in Birmingham, a guy named Ron Muir, who's in bad health right now. I'm hoping he gets to see this. But he taught me about Nashville and educated me in the songwriting things that we talk about, all the little principles, what we're trying to do in songwriting. How do you do? It's all related to the same thing you're asking. How do you get that little niche? Well, you do things that people hear and they go, "Oh, I can see myself in that life. That's me."
Yeah.
They're singing about
Yeah.
the great songs. You feel like that is my song. They wrote that for me. And then the other side, which is in that song I just did. That's me, and I never thought of it like that. You get people who are in their later years, 70, 80, and they really, you still got a lot of life to go.
Yeah. For sure.
One of my best friends in the entire world, well, there are two. One you knew, Jimmy Payne, passed away a couple of weeks ago. And then a very, very good friend of mine, a guy named Furman York, lived across the street from me. We went fishing. He was 87 years old, and he'd run me in the ground.
Yeah.
And he's just full of life. And Jimmy Payne was full of life. And so you realize you don't quit at a certain age. You just keep going and going. And that's where my songs come from. Anytime I write something, I'm thinking, what's the truth in it?
Yeah.
3 chords in the truth. What's the reality? What kind of things that you'll put into a song? And people go, driving down the road with the red Mercedes in their middle 80s, grannies didn't look like that back in my day. No. You see these women, and some is granted, some is little assistants, but there are also just naturally beautiful women who are in their older years, and now with it, you're as young as you feel, and some of those women and men are just still out there.
Still kicking,
and so that's how everything that I do kind of comes from. And recently I've been performing in some of the old they're not even retirement homes anymore. There are people that are moving into apartments. You've heard of the villages. down in Florida. It's an entire complex
yeah,
with
yeah.
400,000 people that are far beyond ended. They've got their own lives. They got everything. So
Yeah.
it's kind of what it is. It just people are living longer, and we got to make the best of it while
I
we can.
first heard of the Villages from Mel.
Yeah.
He went down there and did a whole thing. They paid him to go and do a comedy routine.
Right.
Didn't even sing.
Yeah.
At the Villages.
Exactly.
He loved it.
And think about how long his career lasted, and he was still vibrant going on.
Till the end. Yeah. It was great.
So that's the point I'm trying to make here.
I love it. And songs. See, the cool thing about songs, of course, I think that all songs are God-given, good ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but they last beyond our days too, and they always stay young.
Yeah.
I mean, you can mention a song from the 40s, 30s, I mean, the 1800s, and still you can, we still 1800s. The only one I can think of is "Glory, Glory, Hallelujah."
Well, I'll tell you a song from late 1800, "Wildwood Flower." Wildwood Flower was a song that went back to Appalachian folk music that had gone from the 1800s. That melody was around. People credit Mother Maybelle Carter for writing, but it was really something passed down. And she just captured it and put it together into a form, then presented it in the 50s, and it's something still today.
That is some great history.
Yeah.
I pray the songs that we write will become historical somehow.
The other reaction is I hope, you don't get up to the pearly gates and you think you've done so well. And St. Peter goes, no, we're talking to the guy behind you. You got his message. No, actually, no, that's that guy.
That's terrible. Oh, that would be horrible. Yeah. Well, do us a little concert, a little, introduce these songs, tell us about them all.
Okay.
And ladies and gentlemen, Marc Allen Barnet, the wonderful, his songs will last beyond his days for sure. I believe that. There's some good, I could hear that song again. Have you had that one on a CD?
I have it on my website. It is on. Okay. It's called "We're Still Kicking." It's on the website.
We're Still Kicking.
Yeah.
MRC is how you spell
MARC.
And then Allen is like Rick Allen.
ALN.
Maybe you're related to Rick Allen King. Your middle names are both Allen. No, I'm just kidding. Stupid. Marc Allen Barnet, like Carol Burnett. No, that's Barnett.
Barnett.
Like Tommy Barnett. BARNETT. MarcAllenBarnett.com, is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's very good.
And we got the link on YouTube and Facebook, but if you're watching by television, that's where you go, Marc Allen Barnett. And set us up, and ladies and gentlemen, once again, Marc Allen Barnett.
A lot of times when I'm performing, I just go straight at it. But I do like to explain and preface a little bit of the songs, and this is kind of the theme, Kevin. When I'm very fortunate to be on your show, and I appreciate it. I try to come up with a theme. I compare what we do very similar, and you trying to find the right message to send out and that connect with people. And I kind of do the same thing. And recently, it's been around aging people, and then we have had through COVID. In the last few years, just a lot of people who have passed, and about 5 of my close friends have passed, and Jimmy Payne and my friend Furman York, and it brought me back to a song I wrote several years ago, and where mostly I write songs with other people. This one I kind of wrote by myself because a friend of mine's father had passed away, and it took me back to my father, and it's kind of of sons and fathers, mothers and fathers too, but sons and fathers. So this is something my dad, Grady Ross Barnett, we wrote our first cut together. He and I wrote a song together with a guy named Ron Muir, and that got cut by Shelby Lynn, and it ended up being in a Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson television movie called Another Pair of Aces. And Willie two-stepped to the song and got our names in People magazine, and my dad would just go, I don't know what's so hard about writing songs, because he wrote one. And he was very interested in Mark Twain. He was a big Mark Twain fan. And Mark Twain had a book called Letters to the Earth. And in it, he passes away. He goes up to and he's sitting on the clouds and he's writing letters down. And he said the thing about heaven is that people want to come up here, sit on the clouds, play harps, and sing. Less than half can sing. Less than that can play musical instruments. And when they get up here, it makes a most peculiar sound. So this all came together in this song that is basically for my dad, but it's a way to look at a tough subject in a different way. Well, he called me up that morning and said, can you get over here? That was out of character for him. He was at the kitchen table when I got there and sat down. Said, I got some news to share that's kind of grim. He'd been to the doctor much later than he should, and the news he had to share wasn't good. But he faced it just the way a father would. Said, it's all right, it's okay, there's no need to be afraid. Had a good run at this race, now I'm off to a better place. You love me, I know. If you love me, let me go. Remember, dying's just another part of living. This is not the end, it's the beginning. Said, last night I had a vision, went to heaven in my dreams. St. Peter came and showed me all around. It's just the way they say it is with pretty golden streets. But I must admit there's the most peculiar sound. 40 billion people playing harps and wearing wings. Can you believe it? Half of them can't sing. But it's all right, it's okay, there's no need to be afraid. Had a good run at this race, now I'm off to a better place. You love me, I know. If you love me, let me go. Remember, dying's just another part of living. This is not the end, it's the beginning. We jumped into my car and went downtown for a ride. Ate some southern comfort food, mostly fried. As he put a piece of okra in his mouth, said, my cholesterol don't matter to me now. But it's all right, it's okay, there's no need to be afraid. Had a good run at this race, now I'm off to a better place. You love me, I know. If you love me, let me go. Remember, dying's just another part of living. This is not the end, it's the beginning. You love me, I know. If you love me, let me go. Remember, dying's just another part of living. This is not the end, it's the beginning. Mm-mm. Thank you much.
Wow.
So that's what my take on this is. The thing about songwriting and anything that we do these days, particularly in the entertainment field, but anything, it can be any vocation, whatever, we have to try to do it well, and we have to be effective in communicating anything that we're saying. That's what my take on all of songwriting is about that. And when you ask about where songs come from everywhere, and you have to have a great, what we call songwriting antenna that picks it up. And then where's the twist? Where's the different thing? And I had this unique situation. A guy named Marc Monroe came down from Wisconsin, and he's a 66-year-old. Again, here we go. We're older people. Yeah. He's a retired investment and food guy up in Wisconsin. He got out. He likes to drive his Jaguar around the country. He likes to go skiing, and he wanted to write songs. So that's how he ended up with me. And I wanted to get him thinking about something besides just his life, and something that was a little different. So I brought in a friend of mine, Angie Jolynn Trauber, whose father, Cheryl Millette, was a big hit writer back in the 60s and 70s in Nashville. And she started talking about her day. She's the primary caregiver for her mother, who's in the 80s, and her mother's starting to kind of decline in some ways. And so Marc said something. This is where the songwriting antenna has to be up. He said one word. He said shadows. And we're standing in the shadows of the people that came before us. So this is kind of the strong woman thing but basically everything in this is Angie's life, but I've felt it so many times with my grandparents and mother. I can see you're in the next room. It's almost medication time. Then we'll all have supper, watch some TV. She'll smile that little smile. Doesn't really say much, but her eyes are just as bright. You can almost see the memory as they dance across her mind. She raised our whole family. It's amazing all the things she did. Got us raised and out of the house. Then she raised grandkids. Taught us to sing in perfect harmony. Pretty much everything we'd need. Nursed us through the hard times, but strong enough to always make me see. I'm standing in her shadow, see more of her and me each day. And I swear that's a good thing. It's where I'll always feel safe. That's where I get it all from, where I'll always draw my strength. Standing in her shadow, and that's the best place I'll ever be. Sometimes I have to wonder how she was strong enough to put up with our dad. Made his favorite dish, ham-fried rice, wear clothes he liked, both good and bad. She tracked down my sister, skipping school down at the lake with her friends. Well, it was punishment enough with just one look, so we'd never do that again. I'm standing in her shadow, see more of her and me each day. And I swear that's a good thing. It's where I'll always feel safe. That's where I get it all from, where I'll always draw my strength. Standing in her shadow, that's the best place I'll ever see. Taught life's lessons big and small, with tough love, and through it all now I cast a shadow of my own. I owe it all to her, it was more than I deserve. I hope she'll always know that I'm standing in her shadow, see more of her and me each day. And I swear that's a good thing, where I'll always feel safe. That's where I get it all from, where I'll always draw my strength. Standing in her shadow, that's the best place I'll ever be. Standing in her shadow, that's the best place I'll ever be. Wow.
By the way, you're killing us over here. These songs are killing us.
Oh, thank you.
They're thank you. Yes, we're all crying here. Phyllis, Ginger, yeah, because it brings back some memories. That Shadows, that's a hit song.
Thank
brother.
you.
That's awesome.
Well, I just want people. There are two basic emotions I'm trying to get out of people, and that is basically that's my life, or that's my life, and I never looked at it like that. And that's one that so many people now are dealing with. Parents, or I've got an aunt who's in the latter stages of Alzheimer's, and she's being taken care of by my other aunt, and it's just kind of, it's one of those sad things that when you see people as they're starting to slip away, and you know they're still there in some ways, but they're not. That's one of the saddest things. So trying to bring something that people go, yeah, that's right, and it's cast a shadow on me, and that's what I try to do.
That's it. Yeah, you do it. You got another?
Oh,
you
yeah.
going to make us cry again?
Maybe. I take it that you have, I'm sure you do, have veterans in your
For sure.
thing. And I have one of the guys that I've worked with many years, a guy named Big Ed Moore, and he lives up to his name. He's huge. He's about 6'5", and he's actually a rock and rap and hip hop producer in the San Francisco area. And he started coming into town. People come to me for different reasons. He wanted to get some infusion of the songwriting from Nashville. He had been in Los Angeles, New York. He'd done all that, but had never really focused on songs. And many things in pop music, rock music, all of that, they're dictated by the sound of the record, the movement, the effects, all of those kind of things. Country, and it's actually, I call it more of the Nashville style of songwriting because it can fit into folk, into pop, into country, or whatever. But it's dictated more by the story. And he wanted to infuse himself with that. And he came in multiple times. And he came in one day, and he had just returned from the funeral of an uncle of his who was had died at 91, I think. He had been a bugler in World War II. Wow. He was in the Army. He ended up being a captain. And my friend Ed is there at the funeral and noticed that they had the honor guard, and they had a guy holding a bugle, but he was not playing it. It had a little effects box in the bell of it that was recorded taps. And so Ed, who's musician, you know, and a little bit later after the ceremony, he went over and he met this guy and he said, you didn't play this? He says, I don't play it. We can't get enough trumpet players or buglers to play at all these veterans' funerals because they're dying. So many are dying. And so my Ed came to me with this song and ended up contacting, he contacted a man who has an organization called Bugles Across America. And they organize trumpet players and buglers to play at veterans' funerals. And this song, we ended up writing this song. It's about the song Taps. And now the download, when people pay the 99 cents, it goes to sponsor people playing that. And I attended a friend's funeral, one of her friend of hers, and it was the first time I got to see one of the trumpet players that was put together from Bugles Across America. And so my friend had done his research, Big Ed, and he found out that Taps is 24 notes. That's how many notes are in the song Taps. Okay. And 25 is Happy Birthday. And so he had found these things. So we wanted to write something for the veterans, and this is it. Snow was thick there in Arlington. Heard the echo of 21 guns from the Potomac to the White House. Pressed his horn to his lips, stretched his fingers he didn't want to miss, 'cause he knew what it meant. When he blew out those sounds, 24 notes, perfectly placed, each one for a hero that's passed away. Everyone a story most might never know. Those mournful cries cut right through your soul. All comes down to 24 notes. He recalled the news reports. Couldn't find trumpet players no more to play taps at those warriors' tombs. Volunteered for duty right there and then. Got a charge, he found out when he'd be playing for a trumpet player. From World War II 24 notes, perfectly placed, each one for a hero that's passed away. Everyone a story most might never know. That mournful cry cuts right through your soul. All comes down to 24 notes, perfectly placed, each one for a hero that's passed away. Everyone a story most might never know. That mournful cry cuts right through your soul. All comes down to 24 notes. Thank you, veterans.
You're wrecking us over here. Just that is a yes. Thank you, veterans,
you.
for sure. Memorial Day is coming up.
That's right.
And all. Thank you. You've wrecked me. I don't even. I'm not gonna. I'll do the Devo tomorrow. we just. And you're about to do tables and chairs,
Yes,
which
and
is just gonna wreck me again. I'm just.
thank
What
you.
great song. The first song was called "Alive and Kicking," or no?
The first one's "We're Still Kicking."
We're still kicking.
Uh-huh.
All right, I got to
still
get that
kicking.
right. We're still, because I'm going to go. We can download these, right? And go
Yep.
to Marc Allen,
Yep.
Barnet. What is it? Is it like a 99-cent download for
Yeah.
each one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But what I love about it is the fact that the 24 notes one,
Right.
will go to. That's what it's called.
That's right.
24
24 notes. Yep.
We'll
Now
go
that one is
to-
not me, but it's on my website. It's Boot Hills Bandits is the name of the artist that recorded this
But we
group.
can find and download.
Yeah,
it
you can do
from your
24
site,
notes. Yeah.
And it'll go to Bugles Across America.
Yes, Bugles Across America.
Awesome. And Shadows.
Shadow, Standing in Her Shadow. And I've got a new music video on that one that is on the
Really?
website. Uh-huh.
It's on the website.
It's on the website.
Oh,
Most everything. And also on YouTube. You know, you can find anything on YouTube. There's Marc Allen Barnet, and you can.
Yeah, but if we go to your site,
If you go to
then
my site, yeah.
we get you 99
Yes,
cents at
yes.
least.
That's
And-
exactly right. Yeah.
And then for the Bugles
Yeah.
Across America as well.
Yeah.
No, I love this. I love this. I mean, I guess what, this is just the unforeseen. I had a Devo ready in Matthew chapter 13, and we're going to talk. I'll do it tomorrow. But I think
I didn't want to interrupt you. There.
No, not at all. I love God interruptions, and
Sure.
that's what I think it is. The fact that, okay, stop.
Okay.
The fact that life is too short to just play. So first of all, we got to make sure our hearts are right with the Lord. Second of all, to play, life is too short to just play the game of I'll talk to him later, I'll send him a card later, because moms and grandmas and grandpas and dads and our family, they won't always be there. And the older I get, I see the shadow of my mom, my grandma,
Sure.
and all of my relatives really that are gone on. I've just got one uncle left from that the older generation, and he has a big birthday this year. He's in October as well. His birthday same month as mine. He'll be 80, and he's still running around acting young and stuff. And he works part time at TJ Maxx at 80 years old. And he says, I dare them to try to fire me.
Yeah.
Because, he doesn't get on like he used to, but, he still goes. I'm just saying all these songs and that God has definitely given you are just to remind us about how life is really too short to just play around with it. To take every day and seize hold of every day and make the most of it. The carpe diem is, the what does carpe diem mean?
Seize the day.
It is seize the day. Diem is day. Seize the day. That's what I said. But then I thought of the word deos, which is the Latin for God. seize the day with God and see what he has. I mean, there's a great purpose that he has for every one of us, whether it's writing songs, being in ministry, teaching, doctors. Just think of Dr. Ming Wang. I was talking to him just the other day, who God gave him. He came from China out of communism and the Communist Party that tried to seize him and torture him and all. And he got to America and went to Harvard and became a doctor. And he's thrown out of left field this whole thing about this blind girl from a missions that said, "Can you fix her eyes?" And he said, "Well, nobody can really heal blind eyes." Mm-hmm. But this poor girl had from India, had her aunts or uncles, her mom and dad had died, or they whatever, and an aunt, uncle, somebody poured acid in her eyes to make her blind so she would beg and make them money. Jeez. And so this girl gets to America in some missions deal, and they're taking good care of her, and they said, this girl really deserves a break. And Dr. Ming Wang tried his best. Nothing seemed to work, and she's still blind to this day, but because of her, Ming Wang draw close to the Lord, because that girl loved Jesus no matter what, and was happy and would play and talk to children even as she got older, talk to kids her age and tell them about Jesus. The blind thing was just, that was just to her was just a little setback. Right. And it encouraged him so much that, what Ming Wang does now? One of his main things, he does do eye surgeries for Dolly Parton and some of the great folks of Nashville. He has actually healed some kids' blind eyes, because in the middle of all that, God spoke to him, and he says, "You know what, God, I want to do something even greater." God spoke to him and took something that people throw away, the placenta from after a baby is born, and he found that there's healing. It surrounds a baby and keeps it alive. Why can't it maybe produce cells? And long story short, you've heard it here. Ming was here. Dr. Wang was here and has shared on my show a couple of times. I'm going to be with him on Thursday night, and just to let him know I support what he's doing. But use the placenta on people's eyes and brought healing where they can see, where they couldn't see before. And I say all that because that's his station in life, and yours, it was chosen for you from the beginning, actually. So you don't choose music chooses you, right? That whole opening blind eyes was chosen for him. I guess I'm just trying to say the message is coming through that life is too short to just say, and life is not over at 60, 70, 80, It's a new beginning, right?
That's exactly
What song
right.
did you sing that about? It's a new beginning.
It's not the end, it's the beginning. That was the name of the song. That's
the other song.
Yeah.
Every song has been, it's preaching
you.
a sermon. I don't know if you know you're a preacher, but you are.
Yeah, in some ways.
This is preaching as well. Let's do this song before we run out of time, but I'm so glad you all watched today, and I just hope this encouraged you to take one day, every day, seriously. Make the most of every day. I guess we're speaking to somebody. There may be somebody out there that's feeling depressed about their age or about another birthday coming up or whatever. And sometimes I think about it, because you start at a certain age, you start thinking backwards. You don't start thinking ahead. Like when I get older, you start thinking, backwards. Boy, I got this much time left.
Right.
What can I do? So be encouraged today that God has given you, and he's given each generation a purpose. That's why we're called a chosen generation. Peter said that you are a chosen generation when you know the Lord. So that means you were chosen to be born in the 60s, 70s, 80s, or for some of you, 40s and 50s.
That's right.
That was chosen for you. So make the best of it with God today. And take us on a whole nother melancholy trip with tables and chairs. One more time. Come on, Marc, Alan Barnett. I love you, man.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody out there. I never thought of what I did as teaching until I got asked to start teaching and mentoring people. And a guy named Stephen J. Fisher and I were in Los Angeles, and this popped out. Another night has ended. crowd is shuffled out. Two guys at the end of the bar throw their last ones down. The smoky haze is lifted, work lights have come on. Now I'm packing up this old guitar and headed home alone. I do what I do for the love of it, sure ain't for the bucks. Maybe some magic will wander in if I look deep enough. What they see 3 hours a night is a tortured soul laid bare. Sometimes it feels like I'm playing for tables and chairs. She used to come here with me and hang on every line. Since they were all about her, I had a reason to rhyme. But she couldn't take the lifestyle of this gypsy on the move. You don't choose music,
Yeah.
music chooses you. I do what I do for the love of it, sure ain't for the bucks. Maybe some magic will wander in if I look deep enough. What they see 3 hours a night is a tortured soul laid bare. Sometimes it feels like I'm playing for tables and chairs. Yes, we do what we do for the love of it. It sure ain't for the bucks. But maybe some magic will wander in if we all look deep enough. What they see 3 hours a night are tortured souls laid bare. Sometimes it feels like we're playing for tables and chairs. Sometimes it feels like we're playing for tables and chairs. Tables and chairs. Thank you for having me, Kevin. God bless you.
Sometimes it feels like I'm playing for cameras in the floor, but you know,
That's
it's the new version. But yeah, but we do it out. We don't know who's on the other side of those cameras all the time, but we know that if you're watching, God has a special plan for your life, and Jesus is the answer for this world today. We always end that way, and we really mean that. And we're so thankful for Marc Allen Barnet, and the songs that he chose today are just amazing. And you don't choose music. I didn't choose ministry. I think ministry chose me as well. And you put in that line, if we think we're doing it just for the bucks, my goodness. Right. I think I could do a lot better in other things if it was just about the money or even about for the crowds. But I know that I'm not just speaking to cameras. I am literally, but that you're out there. And I pray that today's really blessed you and touched you. I know if you have any kind of feeling inside your body at all, these songs touched you today. So go to marcallenbarnett.com. You can find him on Facebook and get some of these songs. That one he just did on Tables and Chairs is on this great CD that I love. The song, you got to do something. You got so many good ones on here that I like. Glad to have this moment with you. It's just like, it's such a good, can't blame nobody. Yeah. No, you got man, so
well, I'll come back. We'll do a CD. We'll do a CD.
Do a CD deal, yes.
Right.
We need to get an audience in here and do a little concert.
Yeah,
do a night. I'm trying to set those up with different ones that come that we'll do like a Friday or Saturday night special.
Sure, love to.
Wasn't there something special?
Yeah, the midnight.
The midnight special. Yeah, we'll do one of those. Anyway,
right.
So we're having. I'll do the message that I was going to do today. I'll do it tomorrow Alex Jolt will be here on the keyboards on Thursday. Tina Patterson. Why do you know Tina?
I do.
She is like the Loretta Lynn of today. She really is. She'll be here on Friday. It's a good week. And thank you, Mark, for being here. Thank you all for watching today. Push the share button for sure, would you? And if you're watching on Facebook, and please share this program. You never know who's going to be on the other side of the camera or on the other side of the internet watching, and be blessed and encouraged today to carpe diem and seize the day and just take life seriously, and don't, and stay in touch with your loved ones. Come on. Maybe you haven't talked to your kids in a long time. Come on, it's time to pick up the phone. Say, well, they should have called me. No, come on, put on your man or woman pants, and woman, man up and call and take the initiative, because you don't want to live in regret later on, for sure.
That's right.
There's a whole nother song probably somewhere in that too. Right. But we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be right here. Remember, Jesus is the answer for this world today. I believe it. Play it. Come on, there we go.
This brings to a close another edition of AM Kevin. We're glad you were able to join us. The AM Kevin Show is presented Monday through Friday, featuring evangelist, composer, and gospel artist Kevin Shorey and the entire AM Kevin Club gang. If you'd like to contact us, you can call us at 844-47-KEVIN. That number once again is 844-475-3846. Or you can write us at Kevin Shorey Ministries, P.O. Box 222, Pleasant View, Tennessee 37146. Our email address is kshorymen@aol.com, and you can also visit us at our website, kevinshorey.com. Join us again next time when we present another edition of AM Kevin. And remember, Jesus is the answer for this world today. AM Kevin is a part of the outreach ministry of Kevin Shorey Ministries, Inc., all rights reserved.